He was the college golden boy. At 19, William lived for the game until his coach started looking at him differently. At first it felt like support, then came the glances, the late-night meetings, the kisses. But where glory should followed, everything shattered. Locker room whispers, ruined stats, and eyes that saw through him. When William tried to leave, the trap snapped shut photos, threats, manipulation, and the worst part. Realizing he wasn't the first, now he faces a choice: stay silent, or expose the man who destroyed his career and nearly destroyed him. Can he escape the game he's trapped in without applause, without armor, without fear? What if the man who loved you was the one who broke you? I still remember the cold sting of sweat running down my spine when I found the note tucked under my helmet. Tonight, my office, locked the door, the handwriting was rushed, slanted. I didn't need a name I already knew. Coach Jeff had been watching me too long, too closely. Not just like a coach. Not anymore. That day's practice had been brutal Oklahoma drills in the rain, mud up to our shins, helmets clashing like thunder. But I played harder than ever, maybe because I knew what was coming or feared it. In the locker room, I showered last. I waited for everyone to leave. I stared at myself in the steam. Dup mirror 19, soaked, trembling, still wearing the bruises like medals. Then I walked. Coach's office sat in the corner of the athletic building, away from the lights, wrapped in shadow. I knocked once. No answer. I opened the door. The blinds were drawn. A single desk lamp cast warm light across a cluttered desk. He was already inside, standing near the window, back turned. "You came," Jeff said, voice low. I closed the door behind me. It clicked too loud. "I got your note," I mumbled, suddenly hating how small my voice sounded. He turned slowly. That look, half admiration, half hunger, froze my blood. "You're different, Will," he said. "You feel it too, don't you?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. He stepped closer, only a breath between us now. His hand grazed my shoulder, not like a coach, like a man testing a boundary. "I see the way you look at me after practice," he whispered. I started, but he raised a finger. "You don't have to lie. Not here." The silence pulsed around us. The smell of paper, sweat, rain, soaked turf filled my head. My heart pounded like a drum in my throat. And then a knock on the door, sharp, loud. I jerked back. Jeff's hand dropped instantly. His face snapped into professionalism. "Don't answer it," he said quickly. But I couldn't breathe. I grabbed the door handle, yanked it open. No one was there. Just the hallway stretching into darkness. I ran, out the building, across the empty field, the rain hitting my skin like 1,000 slaps. My cleats pounded the wet earth. I didn't stop until I reached my dorm, locked the door, collapsed. Was it real? Did I imagine it? But the note was still in my hand, crushed and damp. The next day, nothing. No mention, no glance. At practice, Jeff was all business, blowing the whistle, barking orders. But when our eyes met for half a second, his lip twitched, a private smile no one else noticed. Except one, Eli, defensive tackle, loudmouth, always joking about tight ends. He looked at me during sprints and smirked. "Someone had a long night," he muttered. I wanted to knock his teeth in. Instead, I ran faster. Later, in the weight room, Jeff came up behind me while I was benching. Spotted me, his hands under the bar, too close to my chest. "Breathe, Will. I've got you," he whispered. Every word sent a jolt down my arms. That night, I couldn't sleep. My phone buzzed once. "Come see me, 1 minute." I didn't go. But I wanted to. 2 days passed. I kept avoiding his eyes. He kept acting like nothing had changed. But I knew better. On Friday, I found a new note. Slipped into my locker this time. No envelope. No signature. Just 5 words. "You're mine. Stop running." My knees almost gave out. I tore it up and flushed it. But that night, lying in bed, I kept whispering those words to myself, over and over. I didn't tell anyone. Not my roommate, not my mom, not even Trey, my closest friend back home. Because deep down I wasn't scared he'd hurt me. I was scared I might say yes. And that terrified me more than anything. I tried to focus on school, on drills, on my stats. But something had cracked inside me that night and I couldn't tape it back together. Every time I saw Jeff on the sidelines, clipboard in hand, barking at the others, I remembered his voice inches from my neck. The way he said "you're different," I kept asking myself, was I? During film review, he stood behind me, one hand braced on my chair. His breath hit the back of my ear. I shifted forward, pretending to adjust my posture. He didn't move. "Great read on that second." "Down," he murmured. I didn't reply. I just nodded, heart in my throat. In the locker room, the air felt thicker lately. Jokes were sharper, eyes lingered. One guy, Jordan, slapped my back a little too hard and said, "Coach Golden Boy." The others laughed. But I wasn't laughing. That night, I deleted every text I'd ever gotten from Jeff, even the innocent ones. I blocked his number. An hour later, he texted me from another one. "You're not ready to let go." I threw my phone across the room. It didn't break. I kind of wished it had. I thought ignoring him would make it stop. That I could outrun him if I just kept my head down, played hard, stayed invisible. But you can't outrun something that already knows where you sleep. After that week, things started to shift. My throws were sharp, routes clean, but I felt like a ghost at practice. The locker room buzzed around me, towels snapping, trash talk flying, but I floated through it like I didn't belong. Because part of me didn't. I found myself skipping meals, eating protein bars in the dark just to avoid the cafeteria. The laughter there wasn't funny anymore. It felt aimed. One afternoon, I sat alone outside the gym, hoodie up, pretending to scroll my phone. I just needed space. That's when a shadow stepped in front of me. "You look like hell," a voice said. I looked up. A guy in his mid-30s, athletic build, beard peppered with gray, a faded hoodie that read State Champs 9. I hadn't seen him before. "You're new?" I asked. He smirked. "Not really. I'm filling in for Coach Bell, weight training staff." I stood quickly. "Sorry, I didn't mean to be on your..." He waved me down. "Relax. Just looked like you needed to breathe." I didn't reply. He studied me for a second, then added, "You're the right, William." I nodded slowly. "You're good," he said. "Saw your last 2 games. You play with a chip." I almost laughed. "Yeah, a chip or a loaded secret." "I'm Nick," he added, then offered a fist bump. I took it. There was something calm about him. Not like Jeff, not magnetic or intense. Just steady. I almost wanted to tell him everything, but I didn't, not yet. That evening I found another note. This one was slid under my dorm door. "I missed the way you looked at me." No signature, but I knew. I crumpled it. 10 minutes later, my phone lit up. Unknown number. I let it ring out. A voicemail came through. I waited an hour before listening. "You were made for this place, for more than throwing balls and hiding. I can help you, Will. You just have to trust me again." I deleted it, then rewound it, played it again and again. The next morning at practice, Jeff acted like I didn't exist. Gave my reps to the backup. No eye contact, nothing, but during the cool down I passed him on the track. He leaned in and whispered, "You ghost me again and you'll regret it." Smile on his face, like he was talking about weather. I stopped cold, turned, but he was already walking away. I tried to talk to Nick the next day. I don't know why. Maybe because he didn't look at me like I was something he owned. We sat on the edge of the bleachers after team lifts. He lit a cigarette even though it was a smoke-free zone. "Not a fan of rules?" I asked. "Some rules are made by the wrong people," he said, blowing out smoke. I nodded. He looked over at me. "You ever feel like the system's watching you too close?" I stiffened. "What do you mean?" Nick shrugged. "Sometimes coaches see players as more than players. Just saying." That was the first time I looked him straight in the eye. He knew. I swallowed hard. "What would you do?" He was quiet for a long moment. "I'd run, but I'm not you." That night, I walked past Jeff's office. The lights were off. The door was open an inch. I stood there, frozen, then walked away. But on the stairs, I heard his voice from behind me. "I never stopped wanting you." I didn't turn, just kept walking, but my legs were shaking the whole way back. 2 days later, a rumor hit the locker room. Eli said he saw something during late film study. A shadow, 2 people, whispers spread fast. Golden Boys got a secret. Coach's favorites getting private lessons. No one said my name. But they didn't need to. I knew where this was heading, so I made a decision. I looked up athletic programs in other states. Sent out quiet feelers. There was a dye-ice school in Vermont, colder, smaller, quieter. Maybe there I could just play. Just be. No one would know what Jeff did. No one would know what I let happen. The night I started the transfer paperwork, someone slid another envelope under my door. This one had photos us, his hand on my cheek, our lips inches apart in the equipment room. I dropped them like they burned me. Someone had followed us, or had taken them himself. I didn't sleep. Next day at practice, Jeff pulled me aside during stretches. His hand brushed my waist. He leaned in. "You're not going anywhere, Will." He smiled. I made sure of it. It rained for 2 days straight. Not just rain, it poured like the sky wanted to drown us. Practice was canceled. The field flooded. Half the team took it as a blessing. I saw it as a trap. because with the field closed and routines broken, I had nowhere to hide. That night, around 10, there was a knock at my dorm door. I opened it expecting Myra. It was Jeff. Soaked through, black jacket clinging to him like a second skin. "We need to talk," he said, voice flat. I looked past him, empty hallway, dim lights, no one around. "You shouldn't be here." He stepped inside without permission. "I saw your emails," he said, brushing water off his sleeves. "You're leaving." I backed up. "How the hell you used the campus server?" He cut in. "You think I don't see everything?" I stood there frozen. He took another step. "I gave you everything, time, trust, and you tried to run. I didn't ask for any of that." I snapped. "You used me," he stared, the kind of stare that tears you open slowly. "I saw the way you looked at me," he said. "That first night, don't pretend you didn't want it too." I didn't, I faltered. My throat burned. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this." Jeff's expression softened, just a little. "No," he said quietly. "But it did." Lightning cracked outside. The room flickered with white light. He reached for my desk chair and sat down, wet jeans squeaking on the wood. "I can fix this," he said, "but you need to stop fighting me." I leaned against the dresser, fists clenched. "I'm not yours," I said. "You don't get to own me." He stood, walked toward me slowly, then did something I didn't expect. He didn't touch me. He sat on the floor, cross-legged, like a kid in trouble, and whispered, "You're the only thing in my life that feels real." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I gave him a towel, a sweatshirt. He peeled off his wet shirt, slow and quiet. I tried not to look. Failed. His chest glistened, the inked scar near his ribs, the way he sighed when he finally sat on the bed. "This feels like a bad dream," I muttered. "It's not," he said. "You're just wide awake for the first time." We sat side by side on the bed. I could hear the storm hammering the window, the heat of his leg near mine. He looked over. "Tell me something true," he said. I hesitated. "I don't sleep much anymore. Because of me, because of me." He nodded slowly, then reached over and touched my wrist. Light, careful, his thumb brushed a scar from freshman year. That still hurt. I shook my head. Not really, but my heart hurt. I should stopped it when his hand slid up my arm. I should moved when he leaned in, but I didn't. His breath hit my cheek first, then his lips, just the corner of mine, not a kiss, a test, and I failed. Because I turned my head just enough and let it happen, a kiss that didn't belong anywhere, that tasted like rain and guilt. We didn't speak after. He pulled back slowly. I turned away. My chest felt carved open. "I should go," he said. But he didn't, not right away. He stood near the door, holding the sweatshirt I'd given him. "I'm not your enemy, Will." "I don't know what you are," I replied. He nodded once, then left. That night I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The storm had passed, but my pulse hadn't. I touched my lips like they weren't mine. Something had changed, something I couldn't undo. The next day he acted normal. Like we hadn't crossed the line. But during drills, his fingers grazed my back too long. During film, he watched me more than the screen. At one point, he leaned over and whispered, "Last night didn't feel wrong to me." I didn't answer. I couldn't, because part of me agreed, and that was the scariest part. That evening, I walked to the gym late. The building was quiet, lights dim. I pushed open the weight room door and found Nick. He was alone, benching. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked. I shook my head. He motioned me over. "Spot me." I stood behind him, hands ready, watching his chest rise and fall. When he racked the bar, he sat up slowly, then looked at me too long. "You okay?" I nodded too quickly. "Will," he said, "you're not." He reached out just enough to squeeze my forearm. It wasn't romantic, but it was safe, and it made me want to fall apart. The first time I knew I was being watched was in the locker room. Someone had scratched a word into my locker door. "Pretty boy." I stared at it for a long time, not because of what it said, but because of what it didn't. It wasn't a joke, it was a warning. Later that day, I caught Eli staring, not like before. This time, he was measuring something. Waiting, he grinned when I looked back. "What?" I snapped. He leaned in, voice low. Bet Coach's favorite tastes like privilege. I shoved him. Hard, he stumbled back, laughing. "Easy, lover boy." Everyone turned. Jordan whistled. Jeff came over instantly, face blank. "What the hell is going on?" Eli shrugged. "Ask your boy here. He's got a temper." Jeff looked at me, right into me, then said, "Hit the showers, both of you, now." His voice was calm, too calm. Under the cold water, I stood with my head down. Eli threw his towel at my feet on the way out. Jeff walked in. Everyone else was gone, just us. He didn't say anything, just looked at me soaked, shaking, trying not to cry. Then he stepped under the spray with me, fully clothed. "I can make them stop," he said. "No," I whispered. You made them start. He touched my face. I didn't move. I'm the only one who still believes in you, he said. You throw everything away now and you're nothing. I turned away. He didn't follow, but his words stayed, like poison in the water. I filed for transfer the next morning, used a different email. I started packing the small things: phone charger, books, anything that didn't scream this was home. Nick noticed, of course he did. You skipping town, he asked outside the gym, thinking about it. You should, he said. You're not safe here. That hit harder than I expected. You knew all along, I asked. Nick lit a cigarette. I've seen how men like him move. I wanted to ask what that meant, but part of me already knew. Then the photos dropped, printed, folded into lockers, left in the dining hall. Me, him, that night in my dorm, my face in shadow. His hand at my neck, my lips parted. I didn't know if someone had been watching or if Jeff staged it. I didn't care. The damage was done. Practice that day was silent. No one passed me the ball. No one looked at me. Except Jeff. He didn't even blink. After drills, he walked up beside me. You should be grateful, he said softly. Now there's no more hiding. I shoved him. You ruined everything. No, he said steady. I kept you here. You're insane. He smiled. I'm winning. I skipped the next 2 days. Stayed in my room, ate nothing, slept less. Nick came by once. Left a note. You deserve better, but better felt like a lie. Everything I had, my position, my team, my plan gone. On day 3, the coach's office called. Your performance has slipped. You failed your sprint intervals. You're being benched until further notice. Just like that. Jeff didn't even look surprised when I walked past him in the hall. He just said, told you not to run. I saw myself in the mirror that night. Pale, eyes sunken, and I realized something I hadn't before. He didn't want me to leave, because without me, he had no one to control. And without control, Jeff was nothing. I threw my jersey into the trash, sat on the floor, cried until I forgot what I was crying for. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I picked up the phone, called my mom, told her I was thinking of quitting school. She was quiet for a long time, then said, "What happened, baby?" And I said the one thing I never thought I'd admit. I don't know who I am anymore. I packed at midnight. No plan, no goodbye. Just a duffel bag, my cleats, and 3 years of ambition folded like old laundry. I was done. The transfer was approved. ID emailed the new coach. They didn't care about drama, only stats. And I had stats. All I had to do was leave. The next morning I stood at the bus station. Gray sky. Cold wind, my hands shaking inside my hoodie, but the bus never came. It had. I missed it because Jeff found me first. He pulled up in his truck, rolled the window down. "You're making a mistake." I didn't respond, just turned away. He stepped out, slammed the door. "You're running from what we built." "We didn't build anything," I said. "You built a prison and called it love." He moved closer. "You think Vermont will erase this? I'm trying to erase you." That hit him. He flinched just for a second, then his face went still. "You really don't get it. They'll eat you alive out there. You think you're ready for that? I'd rather be eaten alive than stay your pet." He grabbed my arm, hard. People were starting to stare. I yanked free. "Touch me again, and I swear," he let go. Raised both hands. "I'm not the villain here, Will. I loved you." "No," I said. "You used me. I left that day." But not far. Vermont fell through. They got my full file, including the anonymous tip that I'd been disciplinarily benched and involved in inappropriate campus behavior. I never sent that file. But Jeff could have. I came back, not to the team, not to the game, just to the college. They couldn't kick me out, not officially. My grades held barely, but I was done being an athlete. Now I was just a name on a roll sheet, a ghost in a hoodie. Nick found me a week later behind the old gym, sitting on the ground, staring at my cleats. "You look like hell," he said. "Yeah, well, hell looks like me lately." He sat down beside me, lit a cigarette. "Coach got what he wanted," I muttered. "He broke me." Nick shook his head. "No, you're still breathing." I looked at him. "Not really." He didn't argue. Just handed me his hoodie. "Take it. You're shaking." I wore it for days. The next time I saw Jeff, he was on the field with the new quarterback. A freshman, fast, loud, overconfident. Jeff touched his shoulder just like he used to touch mine. It made my skin crawl. 2 nights later, I got a knock. I didn't answer. The knocking didn't stop. When I opened the door, Jeff stood there. He looked tired, hollow-eyed, jacket zipped to his chin. "I miss you," he said. "Go to hell," I said. He stepped in anyway. "I never wanted to hurt you. I wanted us to win together. You wanted control." He didn't deny it. Then he did the thing he always did, made it soft, gentle, rehearsed. He reached for my face, and for the first time I didn't flinch. I slapped his hand away. You don't get to do that anymore, I said. You don't get to rewrite what you did. His jaw clenched. You think I'm the only one who wanted this. I think I was 19, I said, and you were the adult who knew better. He didn't say anything. He just walked out, and for once I didn't follow. The next morning, someone posted a new photo to the student message board. Not of me, of the new kid, and Jeff, too close, too familiar, and just like that, the whispers started again. But this time it wasn't my name. I found Nick in the weight room, told him everything. He listened. Didn't speak until I was done. Then said, I have a contact, Dean's office. You want to take this up formally? I hesitated. I don't want revenge, I said. I just want it to stop. Sometimes the only way to stop something is to burn it down, he replied. I left the gym unsure, torn, until I saw the freshman, alone, sitting on the bench, looking like I used to. He looked up at me, and in his eyes I saw it fear wrapped in silence. That's when I knew this wasn't just about me anymore. I stood outside the dean's office for 20 minutes and didn't go in, not because I changed my mind, because I knew the second I opened that door, I'd become someone else, not the quarterback, not the victim. The whistleblower, and there's no blowing a whistle once it's been heard. That night I wrote everything down. Names, dates, locations, messages. I sent it in an encrypted file to the dean's anonymous tip line. No signature. No return email, but it was enough, or so I thought. 3 days later, Jeff cornered me outside the dining hall. You think I don't know it was you? I stepped back. You can't prove anything. I don't need proof, he growled. I know your fingerprints. He was inches from my face. I could smell mint gum and ego. You ruined yourself the day you pushed me away, he hissed. Everything since then. You did that, not me. You kissed me first, I said, loud enough for 2 people behind us to glance over. Jeff smiled, but there was venom behind it. I built your career, he said, and I can end it for good. I laughed the kind of laugh that tastes like blood. You already did. That evening I found my locker trashed, cleats sliced, jersey soaked in bleach, and a note, just one word, black marker on torn tape. Whore, I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I just sat there, fingers pressed against the shredded cloth, and let myself go numb. Nick was the one who found me again. He didn't ask questions, just sat next to me and said, You still want to do this? I already did, I replied. Now I'm just waiting for the fire to catch. The fire came faster than I expected. That weekend, the dean launched a confidential inquiry. Word spread like a virus. But not about me, about him. Jeff's name was whispered now, not mine. Eyes followed him, not me. For the first time in months, I walked through the quad without wanting to disappear. Then he showed up at my dorm, again. His eyes were wild. His voice not calm, not dangerous, desperate. You have to tell them it was a mistake, he said. You and me, we were nothing. You said so yourself. Jeff, he stepped inside. Slammed the door. They are suspending me, Will. Do you get that? 20 years gone. I stared at him. Really stared. His face wasn't cruel. It was crumbling. I gave you everything, he whispered. I made you shine. I loved you. You loved having power over me, I said. That's not the same thing. He came closer, reached out. You felt it too, he said. Don't lie. I didn't pull away. I wanted him to see the truth in my face. I did feel something, I said, but it died the night you weaponized it. His hand fell. So did his gaze. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did, I said, over and over. Then I did something I never thought I would. I reached out, not to embrace, just to touch his wrist. He flinched. Now you know how it feels, I whispered. He stepped back, breathing hard. You're going to regret this, he said. No, I replied. You are. He turned. Left. The door clicked shut behind him, and I collapsed against it, legs giving out. For the first time in a long time, I cried not from pain but release. The suspension went through. Jeff was out. Pending further investigation, they said, but everyone knew. He cleared his office in silence. No goodbye speech, no warning, just gone, and yet I still waited for the knock. Every night for a week, I stared at the door, half expecting his silhouette in the frame. It never came. But ghosts don't need doors. The team moved on like nothing happened. A new coach arrived. A new guy stepped in. And me? I sat in the back row of classes. I barely passed, wearing hoodies too big and headphones that didn't play anything. Sometimes I caught freshmen looking at me with curiosity, sometimes pity, but no one asked, no one wanted the story. That was fine. I was done telling it. Nick still checked in. He never pried, never tried to save me. He just existed, and that was enough. One evening he dropped a note in my hand. No words, just a folded photo. It was a shot from the first game of the season, me mid, pass, face lit by stadium lights. I looked like someone who believed in tomorrow. "I miss him," I whispered. Nick didn't ask who I meant, because maybe I didn't even know. On a gray Sunday morning, my mom called. I hadn't spoken to her in weeks. Her voice cracked on the first hi. "I heard," she said softly. "It wasn't from you. I didn't want you to worry. You're my son. That's what I do." There was a pause. "I'm not ashamed," I added, voice low, "but I am exhausted." "I know," she said, "and I'm proud of you. No matter what they took from you, you held on to yourself." I swallowed hard. Most days I wasn't sure there was anything left. "There was," she whispered. "There is." Later that afternoon, I walked through the empty locker room one last time. Same smell of rubber and sweat, same flickering light over the mirror. I opened my old locker, the one with the scratched words still faint under the paint. Inside was my helmet, cracked at the edge, the duffel bag Jeff gave me after my first win, and a folded towel I used to keep over my shoulders like armor. I picked up the helmet, turned it in my hands, then placed it back, gently. I wasn't taking it with me. On the bulletin board outside the weight room, someone had taped a quote. "Some things break so that better things can grow." Corny, but it held me in place longer than I expected. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept remembering things that didn't matter anymore. The sound of Jeff's whistle, the way he said my name like it meant something, how I used to feel special before I realized I was being used. But there were other things too. Nick's voice telling me I wasn't alone. My mom's breathing on the phone line. The fact that no one could touch me now unless I let them. A week later, the offer from Maine came through. No football, just a partial scholarship for academics. They didn't care about my past, only what I did next. I packed light, left the trophies behind, took only the things that still felt like mine. At the bus station again. Same wind, same sky, but I didn't shake this time. I wore Nick's hoodie. My duffel bag sat by my feet. I looked down at my hands, rougher now, but steady. I felt someone watching, looked up in the distance by the parking lot, Jeff. Just standing there, no smile, no plea, no wave, just him. We held eye contact for 3 seconds, maybe 4. Then I looked away, the bus pulled up. I climbed aboard, didn't look back, didn't need to. As the road curved away, I pressed my forehead to the window and let the silence stretch. There was no music playing, no crowd cheering, just breath and motion, and something that felt a little like peace. I reached into my bag, pulled out a blank notepad. On the first page I wrote a sentence, only one. This time I'm choosing who I become. I underlined it, then closed the cover.